Okay, Mary, thanks for coming today. And why don't you tell us your name and where you taught in charter schools and what your experience was. And then we'll get into a couple of questions.
Okay. My name is Mary Addi, and I taught for 2 years at the Horizon Science Academy Charter School in Cleveland, Ohio. And I also was a grant writer for approximately 6 months at that school.
Great. One of the things that we're always interested in hearing as parents, we're interested in knowing what the educational situation is in charter schools before we would make a decision to put our child in such a school. What can you tell us about advice to parents about placing your child in a charter school?
Well, in my particular instance, in my experience, the charter school that I worked for was the administrators, the top administrators, were foreign nationals on H-1B visas. They had minimal qualifications, if any. The majority of them had nothing more than a temporary substitute license. They did not possess the same qualifications as their American counterparts, and they had minimal English speaking and comprehension and writing skills, which I found to be extraordinarily difficult for the students to understand them, particularly because they were teaching some core classes like math and science.
Can you speak to the quality of academic programs and the teaching and learning environment in charter schools?
Okay, again, in my specific case, the Dean of Academics, again, was a Turkish national, a gentleman who did not have any kind of curriculum experience. He did not have a teaching license. He did not have an administrative license, yet he was in charge of the curriculum. And the curriculum pretty much was based on, they gave us some books, and a lot of times they didn't even have enough books, and they told the teachers to just create your own curriculum. There was really no unified effort. There wasn't really, there was minimal planning periods. Some of the people that they put into grade chair positions and department chair positions did not have that experience, nor did they have the experience in curriculum planning.
Sometimes the test scores of charter schools look pretty good. Do you have any knowledge about the process for testing and measuring achievement in charter schools?
Well, at our school, after the students completed the testing, the tests were given to the administrators at the school. And again, they are all part of the same organization, and they were all, on H-1B, foreign nationals, and they were the only ones that touched the tests until they were sent to the state. I've often had, it's my belief that those tests are altered, and I've often said if they brought an independent proctor in to manage those tests, the testing process, that they would see a substantial difference in the test scores.
I see. Also, the makeup of the teachers in charter schools. This was a Horizon charter school.
Yes, it's part of the Concept School Network.
Concept schools. Are most of the teachers there American? You said that many of the administrators are foreign nationals. What about the teaching and administrative staff?
15 to 20% of this Concept School staff are usually foreign nationals that come over on H-1B visas. They're Turkish men, male, under the age of 40, with, like I said before, minimal qualifications. The remaining teaching corps, there were a lot of first year teachers, but there were the remaining probably 70% were American teachers.
What about the governance of these charter schools? In other words, were the boards made up of representative community people? What was the relationship between, let's say, the boards of these schools and the administrators and the academic program?
Okay, I'm going to speak again to Concept Schools, which is the management company that ran, and there's approximately, I believe, 20 of those schools here in Ohio. They're predominantly Turkish males, and there are very few Americans, and if they are, they're usually married to one of the Turkish males. I actually have information where they refer to, in emails to each other, the board members, that they refer to Americans. If an American should attend the board meeting, they're referred to as foreigners. So they're referring to the American parents as foreigners.
One other issue that comes up with charter schools across Ohio is the issue of the separation of church and state. And sometimes there's a blurry line between the separation of church and state. What about the overt practice of religion or the promulgation of religious ideas in the charter schools that you've been associated with?
Okay, in the Concept School Network, that network is, those are referred to as Gulen inspired. There's a Muslim religious leader, Turkish religious leader, by the name of Fethullah Gulen, who left Turkey and resides in the Poconos. All of the Turkish males that come over here on H-1B visas are part of Gulen's organization. They're very careful not to discuss their religious beliefs in the church, in the schools, because of the separation of church and state. However, I personally know of them taking taxpayer funding and sending one of the Turkish men to Chicago to pick up a religious group called the Whirling Dervishes so that they could perform at John Carroll University. Now there's no association with the school whatsoever. However, they did use the school funding for that.
Excuse me.
Oh, excuse me. Let me just talk about one other thing that they do. At these particular schools, they promote the Turkish culture. They require a lot of the students to learn Turkish. They ask them to participate in Turkish Olympiads. They offer them trips to Turkey, and they have a lot of cultural related activities. Now that in itself is not suspect other than learning Turkish, because I don't really think that children struggling just to learn how to read and write English should necessarily be forced to speak Turkish. However, this is part of the Gulen's movement's way to indoctrinate anybody. They go to different countries. So this would be their way to get American children indoctrinated with their culture and ultimately into their religious beliefs.
Let me go back to the question. What do you think is the most important thing for a parent considering placing their child into a charter school? What is the most important thing for them to think about before they make that decision?
Definitely think parents need to thoroughly investigate the administrative staff of any proposed charter school. Before they even open their doors, they need to investigate, who are these people running their schools? Who are these people that they're allowing, them to educate their children, especially if they don't have the same qualifications that, other educators do. I have 2 graduate degrees. I have, an undergraduate degree, and yet these people, in particular the Concept schools, they come over here with sometimes not even a bachelor's degree and are teaching our children. So before you let your children, I realize that a lot of parents think that the charter schools are the best option, but unless they start investigating the people that are teaching and the administrators, I feel like they're failing their children unless they have the duty to investigate them.